What's up everyone, it's Claudio here, and today is my second circuit race at Floyd Bennett Field in the Cat 5 group. A couple weeks ago was my first race, and if you didn't see that video, you should check it out. Basically, I got dropped halfway through the first lap, and I was never able to recover. It was a very eye-opening experience, and I realized how important racing tactics can be. It's not just all about fitness. So this time I'm really going to try to get better positioning right from the beginning of the race and make sure I stay super alert to catch any accelerations. I'm really hoping I can finish at least 2 laps with the group, definitely get through the first lap. I don't care how hard I have to go in the beginning, my goal is to stay with the group as long as possible. Okay, let's do this.
Alright, so here we go. We are getting started. Took me a few strokes to get clipped in as usual. I don't know, I can never get it on the first try. So anyways, here I go. I'm strategically on the inside. So this time, unlike my first race, I actually got a good 20-minute warm-up where I went around, I think, at least 3 laps. And it was really helpful because I got to understand the wind patterns on this day. So basically on this straightaway, it's a tailwind. So we have the wind behind us pushing us. So this is easy, and this is where all things get accelerated. And then on the opposite end, you'll see is a pretty strong crosswind and headwind. So right away, big difference. I am at the front of the pack. I'm getting in line. I'm really trying to draft properly here. Trying to get, a foot as close to that wheel as I can. It looks like here there are these 2 teammates. I don't know if there were any other teams, but a lot of people don't know that cycling is a team sport. So in these races, there are a lot of just single racers like myself. But when you have a teammate, you can really work together. You can attack, you can cover attacks, you can stay back and block, all kinds of things. So these guys, I believe the guy right in front of me, he was with me at the end. He was in the back, and I don't know where his teammate had ended up. Might have been at the front. I don't know who placed in the top. So far pretty easy. At this point, I'm actually kind of nervous because on my first race, coming up on this second turn is when I got dropped. But so far, I'm okay. Heart rate is manageable. I'm not doing too many watts. My max heart rate is 181. I maybe have seen it go up to 182 for a split second, but I'd say it plateaus at 181. Again, my FTP is 225, just as a reference. And here last week was where exactly I got dropped. But I'm at the front, so I'm not nervous, and they're not accelerating because this is a pretty strong crosswind going from left to right. And as you can see, I'm not right on this guy's wheel because there's somebody exactly to my left who is actually blocking the wind. And this was part of my strategy, was to stay in the inside and have at least one person block as much as that crosswind as possible. So I'm kind of chilling out. I'm under 150 BPM for my heart rate, not too many watts. So I am okay here. It's not going very fast, as you can see, 19 miles per hour. We are getting hit with that crosswind. So this race is it's very different from my first race. It wasn't as aggressive in the beginning, and I also have much better positioning. So we're going into a section where the crosswind lets up, and this is where you can accelerate. And as you can see, I'm not really putting too much of an effort, and the momentum just carries me. And there I am, I'm leading the pack. It wasn't exactly intentional, I just kind of rolled up there. But now I am reaching my threshold heart rate, which is around 170. So I am putting some effort here. I'm excited, I'm having a good time, I'm at the front. I can tell that I'm gonna make this first lap. I'm not gonna get dropped on the first lap. I mean, there's just no way. I'm at the front here. And as we can see, coming up on the turn, kind of start to get tired. And this is where all the accelerations take place. We have a nice tailwind here, and I'm already at 172 heart rate. I am letting this gap open up, so guys are starting to cover that gap. I'm kind of rolling back, and it's okay. It's actually not a bad strategy to be in the front of the pack, and then as they start to accelerate, you just drop back, 5-10 positions, and you're still hanging on. And that's exactly what I did. I got myself in the front. The accelerations happened. I dropped back positions, but I was still with the group. That was pretty much my strategy throughout this race. It's pretty fast. It's going up 28, maybe 29 miles an hour. And now, that only lasted for like less than a minute, and they're already slowing down. And then what happens is once they slow down, I just keep my momentum, and I go to the front. No big deal. I'm not working too hard. And there I am at the top, the front of the group. So anytime my heart rate goes above 170, I'm pretty much in some kind of pain, some level of pain. I'm hurting here. Now we got the windy section. We're gonna start to slow down, and you can see people start to pass me. It's fine, I'm staying in the inside. It's not aggressive here. Another big difference was I was in the drops the entire race. So the drops are these curvy things that put you in a more aerodynamic position. Like the guy to my left, he's not on the drops, but the guy in front of him, he's in the drops. So it puts you in a more aerodynamic position. It's more aggressive. The bike is a little more twitchy, so it's not as comfortable, and it's a little kind of scarier at first. But I was able to just do the entire race in the drops. My hands did get really numb towards the end, though. I'm just not used to it. This guy right in front of me had the lowest cadence the whole race. I mean, he was like, look at him go. He was like in the 60s, 70s, but he was strong. Interesting. Okay, coming into the crosswind section. I'm trying to stay in the inside. Now people are just slowing down, coasting. I don't mind. I get a little recovery. My heart rate, look, it's just going way down. It's really good for me. Getting down closer to 160. I I have all these guys blocking the crosswind from left to right. Let's see. And another thing about heart rate, somebody asked me, how do I know my max heart rate and why is that important? So you get to know your max heart rate by doing a lot of tests. You can look them up on the internet, and basically you go as hard as you can in intervals, multiple intervals, and at some point, let's say you do a sprint, like 30-second sprint, then 10-second rest, 30-second sprint, 10-second rest. At some point you'll see your heart rate will just plateau, and then you can't go anymore. And if you do a lot of training, you can figure that out in just a few sessions. So mine is 181. I'll hit 182 about once for a split second on most races and in intense workouts. Okay, so here we are. We're slowing, 21 miles an hour. And boom, there's the attack. There is the attack that initiates the breakaway. I don't follow because, well, I just don't have the guts to go and blow myself up. I'm trying to chase that. I'm just trying to hang on. So I think it's like 3 guys that go up, or 2 that chase them, and I think they got away for the whole race. No, I never saw them again. And eventually there are a few guys that tried to create a chase group, and I'm not sure what happens if they ever chase them down. But there goes the breakaway. And now things are getting fast. You can see there's these little gaps between myself and the guy in front of me, and I got yelled at. The guys will be like, close it, because having these gaps is not good. It kind of strings out the whole group, and then people have to go in front of me and close the gap and work harder. But I mean, I'm really struggling. I can't always close the gap. It's not as easy as it looks. So here we go. This is the fast, speedy section. It only lasts for like 30 seconds. And then guys start to slow down. Again, people, I accidentally let that gap open, people closing it. I don't know how annoying that is to other riders, but I think some of them don't like it when they just have to push more watts to get around me and then close that gap because they don't want to be left behind. So somebody commented on my first video about some strategies and not being in the back. Try to stay away from the back of the pack, because what happens is, right now I'm kind of in the back and things get really strung out. So when you're in the back, you're either sprinting to close a gap or you're braking. So you're never in control of the tempo, the speed, and you never see any of the attacks. You never know what's going on until it's too late. And that's how you get left behind. Which is totally true. It's what happened last time. how I got dropped so fast. You really got to keep an eye on the front section of the group. Here's this guy with the super low cadence. This terrain is pretty rough, but you know, I got used to it. I got to figure out where all the really rough spots were and what to do. So I'm pretty comfortable now. My second time here. It's fine, it's no big deal. I mean, I have not hit max heart rate yet. Not even really close to 180. So I'm doing okay. And by the way, when I'm racing, I'm not really looking at my heart rate and the speed. I mean, sometimes I'm looking at my watts, but I'm just racing. I'm trying to do what I need to do to stay with a group or to cover moves. It's not like I look down at my bike computer and see my watts the whole time and kind of like calculate things. Not in this race, at least. I'm just trying to stay on somebody's wheel, or I'm covering an acceleration, you know, whatever. Trying to survive. Here a gap opens up. I gotta put some watts down to close it. It's kind of annoying when something opens up like that. And I can never really catch it. Here I'm actually hurting. I'm trying to close this gap. There's a gap in front of him. Yeah, we're really strung out, as you can see. And now things are only going to get faster and even more strung out. So from now until the end of the race, I'm just trying to cover these little gaps. And here, I think I'm trying to get with these two guys. So I'm putting down some effort. I don't really have that much in me. I don't know how many people are behind me, or what's going on. Here it is. I'm putting in a decent effort to try to catch them. Out of the saddle. I'm breathing hard. I'm really grinding here. It's hard to sustain, to make a big effort and then sustain, 250 watts. It's like I'll go up to 400 for 10 seconds, and then I gotta drop down to like 150. And then, people start passing me. So now I'm hurting here. I can't get above 200 watts. I need to recover. I need my heart rate to come down. My legs are burning. I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm breathing really hard. I believe this is the 4th lap. Super strung out group. I'm still not recovered okay there, and I'm pushing a little bit more, hitting over 200 watts. That's how I know I'm kind of coming back to life. Okay, I'm putting down some more. I don't even know at this point who's behind me. If anybody's behind me or what's going on. But there are some people still behind me, as you can see here. So there's this guy and this guy who has a teammate, I believe, maybe still up front. And I'm kind of happy to see them so I can grab their wheel and hang on, which is what I do. And I do this for the rest of the race. Really, the whole time I'm just trying to stay on their wheel. And I remember I was like, please don't let them get away. Just hold that wheel. I'm not really drafting here because I'm kind of close enough. But it was like a struggle to close this little, like, 5-foot gap. I just couldn't do it for the longest time. And there, kind of closing it. And so one of the things that happens is when you're in a situation like this, people will sometimes start working together. So if there's 3 of us, so the guy in the front, he's making the pulls, and so he's going like 20 watts at least harder than us because he's got the wind in his face. He has to pedal harder. So then after like maybe a minute or so, the guy in second place here will go up to the front and do some of the work. So the other guy will drop back and recover and get the draft. But we never did that. I certainly could not do that. Couldn't do any other work. I was just hanging on. But the guy here right in front of me, he could have done that. But he never did. And I think the other guy kind of said something to him. Like, man, why don't you do some work? Or, help me out. But he never did. Maybe he was struggling too. I don't know. Here, I'm really struggling to close this gap. I think these riders they might be warming up for the other race. So at this point, I think that I'm really, I'm going to finish the race. So I'm happy about that. And I'm just trying to hang on. I really hope that these 2 guys one of them doesn't surge, because then I'm screwed. So we basically do this for a whole lap. I might just skip to the end of this coming lap. This coming lap is going to be the 5th lap. It's basically all we do. We just kind of grind it out. We never catch anybody, and apparently there were people behind us, or maybe a few people got dropped. Because at this point, I think that I'm last. I'm feeling like I'm dead last. Right, so some of you have asked me what kind of training I do. I am training for a triathlon Olympic distance, which is in a month, in July 1st, the New York City Triathlon. So obviously I do swimming, running, and cycling every week. For example, one of the workouts that I did on the bike this past week was 3 20-minute intervals as follows. 3 minutes in zone 2, 3 minutes in zone 3, then back to 3 minutes in zone 2, 3 minutes in zone 4A, 3 minutes in zone 2, 3 minutes in zone 4B, and then an easy spin for 2 minutes. So I did that 3 times, and there was like a 20-minute warm-up before that, and then a 10-minute cool down after that. That was a good workout. Okay, here the guy's talking to him. He's like, man, I think he said something sarcastic, like, thanks for doing some of the work. I believe, I don't know. But, totally understand. We could have worked together. I could have maybe done some of the work here, but again, I'm just hanging on. I think he is trying to get up and maybe do some of the work. This guy in the blue and orange. Yeah, there he goes. So now this guy in front of me gets a little bit of a rest. He's been doing a lot of the work. He's not really on the guy's wheel, so I don't know what's going on. Okay, there he goes. And that was, I guess, not enough for the guy in the dark green and black. If you don't know about zones and zone training, what you need to do is, basically look it up, and you'll see that you'll have to take an FTP test, the 20-minute power, and then it tells you theoretically what you can do, you can sustain in 1 hour. And then it maps out all your zones. Let me look at my zones actually. So for me, my FTP is 225, 226. My zone 2 is 134 to 180. My zone 3 is 181 to 226. Zone 4A is 227, 237. Zone 4B, 238, 273. So I have a coach, and he maps out all these workouts for me every week on Sunday. Really helpful when you have somebody just telling you what to do and then gauging your progress. And let's see what I did this past week. So I did that workout. I did like an hour run, very easy zone 2 run because I'm recovering from a stress fracture on my right foot, but I still can't do any kind of speed work. I did some CrossFit on Saturday. I did 2 swims, I believe. Usually my swims are around 3,000 yards, a lot of intervals, usually no more than an hour. And then I had a quick hour bike workout, which was, let's see here, 10 minutes warming up, 10 minutes alternating between 1 minute zone 4B and 1 minute zone 2. And then I did 30 minutes riding of the following. 5 minutes alternating max effort for 30 seconds, and 30-second easy spin. Then another block of 5 minutes in steady zone 3, and then another block of 5 minutes in steady zone 2. And I did that whole thing twice because it adds up to 15 minutes. So 30 minutes of that, and then 10 minutes of a cool down. So that's a quick hour. Really helpful having a coach. You know, I wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't know how to design these workouts. And so they all get uploaded to Training Peaks, and he can see my heart rate, he can see how I performed, and I can make comments, and then he can tweak them as the weeks go on, and really push me when I need to be pushed and slow me down when I need to rest. Very helpful there. Okay, so we're coming up on the last turn into the final straightaway on the last lap. I can see that there might be a sprint finish here for whatever place we're in. So I'm getting ready for that. I've never sprinted here, so I don't know exactly when to go, how long to wait for it. I'm hurting. The guy kind of took off a little bit. Still not too fast. I don't really see anybody taking off sprinting, so here I go. And I don't really catch the guy, but I put in a good effort. Good job, Claudio.
What's up, everyone? Just finished all 5 laps. Didn't really get dropped. Even got to sprint for a finish. Second to last. Big improvement from the last race. Super hyped about that. Woo!